You're wandering the Weeping Peninsula. The wind is howling off the sea, and ahead you see them. Hunched, red-furred figures with crude iron blades, half human, half beast. They scream, they scramble, they fly, they tear at corpses in dark corners of the lands between. They are the Misbegotten. They were once ordinary humans who made contact with the Crucible, the primordial form of life that existed before the Haligtree's ordered Golden Age. That contact twisted their bodies, marking them with animal traits – tails, horns, scales, wings, red fur and golden hair. They were held to be a punishment for making contact with the Crucible, and from birth they are treated as slaves, or even worse. So, in their core, Misbegotten are former humans, physically warped by the Crucible, socially branded as punishment and treated as less than human. They exhibit characteristics of different types of animals and lumped in with other impure beings like omens, shunned under Marika's rule. They also share a similar social role to omens. Both groups are ostracized largely because of their connection to the primordial Crucible, rather than anything did personally. So when you meet a Misbegotten, you are not just killing some random mob. You are looking at a living reminder of a time before the need, sanitized Golden Order, a relic of an older, wilder form of life that the Haligtree tried to suppress. The Misbegotten origin is tied to the Crucible and the ancient ruins of Rao in the Shadow of Haligtree DLC. It explains that Crucible aspects first sprouted on a giant in the distant past. Eventually, a group of people came into direct contact with these Crucible aspects and became the Misbegotten. So why are Misbegotten in this world? From a lore perspective, they are the byproduct of forbidden contact with primordial life. The Crucible represents chaotic, undifferentiated life mixing forms and species. The Misbegotten carry that chaos in their bodies. They are the Golden Order's living heresy. Marika's regime needs neat borders – human, demigod, beast, servant. The Misbegotten, like the omens, blur those lines so they are immediately labeled impure and dangerous. They embody the tension between old and new. You can think of them as a people caught between ages. Old Crucible power in their blood, but forced to live under a system that despises everything they represent. From birth, Misbegotten are treated as slaves. They are punished under Marika's rule, and they are often forced into a back-breaking labor and used as expendable frontline fighters. We see this most clearly in Castle Morne. The Misbegotten were employed as slaves at Castle Morne, under the forces loyal to Godric. After the shattering, they revolted against Godric's troops and decided to occupy the castle for themselves. Edgar, the Castellan, ordained by Lord Godric, stays behind, desperately guarding the legendary grafted blade greatsword, so it doesn't fall into their hands. The Irina and Edgar questline walks you right into this conflict. Irina's letter begs you to reach her father in Morne, where the servants have risen up and slaughtered the garrison. This is a rebellion of long-oppressed slaves, Misbegotten finally turning on their masters. And after all that, if you help Edgar, things still end up in tragedy, as Misbegotten later kills Irina off-screen, pushing Edgar into madness and frenzied revenge spree against all Misbegotten. So the Misbegotten aren't just monsters here. They are an enslaved underclass whose attempt at liberation spirals into more violence on both sides. There are 4 main Misbegotten variants in Elden Ring: Basic Misbegotten, Winged Misbegotten, Scaly Misbegotten, Misbegotten Warriors, Leonine Misbegotten. The last one is a boss with a greatsword like the Iron Greatsword, appearing as a final challenge at Castle Morne. These roles paint a picture of people forced into manual labor, the butchers, miners and castle slaves, disposable stock troops, the warriors and Leonine variants. Even their weapons tell the story. They wield weighty iron weapons steeped in resentment. That resentment isn't just flavor, it's baked into how the game frames them, angry, brutalized and channeling that pain into violence. Now who, if anyone, are the Misbegotten aligned with? Sanctuary at Miquella's Haligtree. Many Misbegotten find refuge in Haligtree town, in the branches of Miquella Haligtree. This suggests that Miquella's more inclusive, protective vision of the world offers them something they never got from Marika's Golden Order – a home. Some Misbegotten are found in the isolated quarter of Elendil, either butchering corpses or praying to a hooded warrior statue. They are not just beasts, they have rituals, graves, and a sense of reverence. The Misbegotten Crusader. This boss wields a martial sword forged by Radagon of the Golden Order and leads a group that found refuge in the Cave of the Forlorn. By the way, there is a theory on internet that in the Japanese version of Elden Ring, internal files to the Misbegotten are labeled as Children of Radagon. That doesn't mean Radagon ridiculized them in the narrative, but it strongly connects them conceptually to him, another being who embodies Crucible traits and a complicated relationship with the Golden Order. So who do they serve? Historically, they are enslaved under Marika's Golden Order, used as labor and fodder. In practice, you can see them in Castle Morne, initially working under Godric's forces before rebelling. In Leyndell, lurking in hidden districts of the capital they were never meant to be part of, under the leadership of the Misbegotten Crusader, wielding a sword forged by Radagon, hinting at a historical tie to his faction. But when we talk about friendly to tarnished Misbegotten, there is really only one clear example. Our only friendly Misbegotten is Smithing Master Hewg, and that he is bound to the Round Table Hold, cursed by Queen Marika to forge a weapon that kills a god. Hewg is a master smith who once practiced a divine art, now imprisoned and chained to his anvil. Long ago, Marika cursed him with an impossible order: create a god-slaying weapon. He is shackled in the Round Table Hold, forced to serve the tarnished as they pursue demigods. He is terrified of her, Queen Marika, yet continues forging in the hope his work will fulfill his curse. Over time, he forms a bond with Roderica, treating her almost like a daughter, and keeps smithing even as the hold burns, solely to give you the weapon that might slay a god. Hewg is important because he breaks the stereotype. He is not a nameless beast. He is a thoughtful, self-sacrificing craftsman, fully misbegotten and fully sympathetic. He shows what the Misbegotten might have been in a different world, respected artisans instead of chained monsters. So, who do the Misbegotten actually confront in the story and world of Elden Ring? Castle Morne is the clearest example. Misbegotten slaves versus Godric's loyal soldiers, with Edgar caught in the middle. Their status as impure beings, similar to omens, put them at odds with the ideology of Leyndell. Many humans see them as lesser creatures. They are beast-like or feral, reflecting in-world prejudice as much as their actual behavior. In gameplay, you fight Misbegotten at Castle Morne, where even the Lionel Misbegotten, a key early boss, is gonna be our enemy. After the murder of Irina, Edgar snaps and vows to slaughter all Misbegotten in revenge, becoming a frenzied flame-style Avenger. So while they are enemies to you in moment-to-moment gameplay, the deeper lore casts them primarily as a persecuted group lashing out against the system that abused them. So the next time you walk into a ruined fortress and see the figures hunched over corpses, remember, in Elden Ring's lore, the Misbegotten are people, born from the Crucible, crushed by the Golden Order, and still fighting to exist in a world that decided they were a mistake. Thanks for watching, hit that like button, subscribe for more Elden Ring lore, and stay sharp out there, tarnished.